In my distress, I called upon the Lord, and He heard my voice. In my distress, I called upon the Lord, and He heard my voice. We see this in the situation of Jeremiah in the first reading. He was preaching the word, and yet he was imprisoned. He was flogged. He was persecuted, not only by people, but even from his own friends and family. Wow, that's quite difficult. Yes, many people can reject you, but sometimes you rely on your friends and your family. And yet in the case of Jeremiah, even his friends and families persecuted him. They would not accept his preaching. And yet we see in Jeremiah his determination just to accomplish the task that God had given him. And he did deliver, even if it meant persecution. And you can see how he had a courageous faith. He had a strong faith, even in the midst of crisis, difficulties, in the face of death. Just like the Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, or Ananias, Azariah, Mishael, when we heard a few days ago, who were thrown into a big furnace. And yet that did not change their mind to be faithful to a loving God. Such is the message given to us. We all suffer, face trials, difficulties. We all sometimes even question God. But it's a question also of having firm determination to be faithful to God, because at the end, we will be vindicated. So the same thing happens in the gospel. We've been hearing about the dialogue between the Jews and Jesus in the gospel, how they continue to reject and not believe in him. And yet Jesus, as a faithful son of the Father, was always obedient, offered his life totally, his strength, everything to him, until he was able to say, the last moment of his life, it is finished. Father, what you have told me to accomplish, the reason why you sent me into the world, it is accomplished. It is finished. So we hope and pray that we will always imitate Jesus, faithful and Jeremiah to the end, even when our faith, our life is tested. We are asked to offer everything to God, because at the end, God's wisdom, God's love, God's plan will triumph, will be realized. The glory of God, as Saint Irenaeus tells us, is man fully alive. So we often say, I believe in God. And it's a stronger affirmation of our belief. I indeed believe in God. We believe in God in thought, in word, and in deed. In the Mass we heard, Father, you are holy indeed. God shows his love concretely through his deeds. Same thing is expected from us. Our belief is expressed in deep faith in God, in our heart, in our mind, and yet in deed we have to express our faith. Amen.